Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is May the 2nd, 2022, and today we're going to be discussing the Sabbath. We're going to take a look, in this video we're going to take a look at the scriptures that pertain to the Sabbath and what can be done. And then we're going to go through different examples in regards to certain things that can and cannot be done on the Sabbath. We're going to look at the examples that are given in the Bible to expand our understanding. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scriptures. And I do have to tell you that I actually put this together some time ago, so I don't really remember everything that's in here, but we're going to go through them together and we are going to learn together. So let's start off. The one that everyone is familiar with is Leviticus 23 verse 3, or most people are familiar with. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and Holy Convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. So work, this word for work here, for H4399, actually means employment. From the same as 4397, properly deputyship, that is ministry, generally employment. A deputy is like a sheriff's deputy, if the sheriff isn't available, then the deputy is in charge. So you are in essence replacing the owner as an employee in his facility. So that's what this word means. It means that you cannot work as an employee on the Sabbath. Jumping down to the other holidays, the first day you should have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Servile work means that you cannot, is employment, but it's for free. It's bondage is what it is. Work of any kind, act, bondage, bondservant, effect, labor, ministering, office, service, tillage, use, work, wrought. But it's like slave labor is what it is. So you can still work on the other holidays outside of the Sabbath, except for the Day of Atonement. That's treated as a Sabbath. But you have to get paid for it. Now there is another aspect of this which we will come across called bearing a burden. So it's not just work, but we will come across that and we'll discuss that as well. Incidentally, all of these studies are going to go together. There were so many different facets of it. It was impossible to put everything pertaining to one topic in that particular video. So you might see a little bit of part of the bondage in this video, and then you'll see some more aspects of it when we get into buying and selling. I don't recall everything, to be honest with you, but I know that it was impossible to put everything into one study on each topic. So let's continue on. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work, the 4399, therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. We looked that up already. In mortar and in brick, this is when the people of God were in Egypt. And in all manner of services in the field, all their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And this is just a verb for this. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant, as a slave, but as a hired servant. So it's giving the two opposites here. So if he's sold into you as a slave, you still don't use him as a slave. You pay him for his work. A man at wages by the day or year, hired manservant, a hireling. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near, and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto him. So minister is still something different, even though you're still waiting on the person, maybe cooking for them, taking care of them, whatever you're doing. It's not the same as slave labor. And they shall keep his charge and the charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle. I'll show you this word. We're not going to look it up though. Before the tabernacle of the congregation, to do the service of the tabernacle. And the word service is used as free here, because that is the way that it is used even today. People say, I received a calling from God. I don't have any choice but to go and do this work. Yeah, this is the same term that's used today. And okay, this is what I didn't want to tell you before, but I'm glad it came up. Let's read all of this. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is set forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it. But they shall not touch any holy thing lest they die. These are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, what I was saying before was about people receive the calling. They put a self-imposed burden upon themselves, and that is a self-imposed job. It's still a job, but you have put it upon yourself. In the case of pastors receiving the calling, they're working for God, but it's still a burden. A burden, specifically a tribute. There are other words for burden that we'll investigate later on in the study. But this particular burden is not a load, it is a tribute. And this is what makes it a job, because it is to honor something or someone. And usually it's chiefly associated with doom. Of course, we know when you receive the calling of God, it's not especially singing. It's mental, a desire, a burden to carry away. It also means prophecy, burden they set, a song, or a tribute. But it's a self-imposed job or responsibility that you have put upon yourself. Now this is Gershon. This is one of the sons of Levi. And we'll notice here that it says from 30 years old and upward until 50 years old. Now if I had read it for Kohath, it also says from 30 years old and upward until 50 years old. But let's read what it has to say here. From 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shalt thou number them all that enter in to perform the service, to do the work, and it's still work because it's free, in the tabernacle of the congregation. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites to serve and for burdens. So let's continue. This is that belongeth unto the Levites from 25 years old and upward. So we had all of the sons of Levi. They were numbered from 30 years old and upward, and they were each given specific responsibilities. But here, there's a responsibility for the 25-year-olds as well. And it says, this is that belongeth unto the Levites from 20 and 5 years old and upward. They shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, if we look this up, this is the only place in the Bible where it's written like this. But what it's going to say is this word means to muster. This is the only place where it's written H6633 and then 6635. But we see that this word 6633 means to muster and then the host. So they are to muster. I think it's used to fight here. To muster the host. And I think it's written this way because they are the support to wait upon. That means they're to support. But it doesn't put the host in here because it's not just the Levi that they're waiting on. They are also supporting maybe the people of God, the congregation. If they need help getting their cattle there to sacrifice or something, they can get a Levite to help out, 25 years and older. But they're supporting the Levite wherever they may need them, if they need some water or something, But that's from 25 years old and upward. You have to get your own interpretations of this. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, and it's not in the Bible enough for me to get out a 100% clear explanation for it. But that's the interpretation that I came away with. From 25 years old and upward, they helped as a support staff for the people of God, as well as the Levite in the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Okay? But I put this in here to show still there are different words that are used to describe different forms of work. And there's a lot of them that I didn't put in here. I do remember that. And over them that did the work, again, work in the field for the tillage, because they're causing the ground to be for the tillage of the ground, because the ground is profiting for free, so to speak. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. Go ye and get the straw where you can find it. Yet not aught of your work shall be diminished. It's called work, but it's slave labor. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmaster hastened them, saying, fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. We're not going to look that up, because I think I made it clear that there's different forms for work. But our work is employment and then working for free. Thy father made your yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. I'm not sure how many more of these I have in here. We'll go through them quickly. He caused the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man. Okay. Son of man, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, caused his army to serve a great service, which was free against Tyrus. That's funny. So he was serving God. Every head was made bald, and every shoulder was peeled. Yet had he no wages, nor his army for Tyrus for the service, the rendered free service that he served against it. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Labor is the actual verb where you're doing it, and then work, of course, is the employment. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy maidservant, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. But every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. And this is a hired servant again. Let's see how many more. We're almost done. And the servant earnestly desireth the shadow, and as an hireling looketh for the reward of his work. No, I must have put that in there for hireling again. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb in the field. I put this in here because if you go through Genesis and you read through it, I noticed that it was very careful not to use the word work in the book of Genesis. I can't remember all the details that I wanted to relate to you about it, but it was careful not to use the work when it was talking about, not all through the book of Genesis, but when it was talking about Adam and his, and the curse that was laid upon him, because it says, cursed is the ground for thy sake. You're going to eat of it, but it doesn't say you're going to work on it. It doesn't do that. But then we have here in chapter 2. Let's see what this says. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made and he rested on the seventh day from all his work. This was the comparison that I drew. It said God worked on the second day. He worked on the first day. He worked on the second. He worked. And then when it came to Genesis, there was no mention of it when it came to Adam. I thought that was a very... I'm sometimes impressed with the wisdom of the Bible. All the time impressed. I just wanted to point it out. Anyway, from all his work which he had made. So this is on the Sabbath day. It says he worked. He worked as an employee. Why? For our benefit. Okay? He worked for our benefit. Now we know he works all the time for free in order to sustain our life. But this was work of the work of creation, which he had made. It tells you what the work was. The work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, from the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to work the ground. And this work is just a verb. It's not enslavement or hired work. Exodus. Okay, so I'm not sure why I would end with this. This is something that I'm going to need to discuss with you guys. I'm going to pause you for a moment to see if I have it in one of the other studies. Just a moment. Okay. We're going to go ahead and read through this verse, but we're going to discuss it in the verse in the section about cooking. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be unto you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work, doeth the work therein, shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day. Now this, of course, doesn't have anything to do with cooking, but I know that people read into it that it has something to do with cooking. It really doesn't have anything at all to do with cooking. So I did put it in the cooking section, and we will follow up with it there. So I think that's it. Okay, yeah, that's it for our major verses in regards to the Sabbath day. Oh, there is one more we can look at. No, we'll discuss it on cooking. There is another verse that discusses cooking further, as well as buying, selling, work, burdens. All of those will be covered. All of these videos they all go together. They all play one off of the other. So you will want to see them if you want to get the full picture. But for now, these are the major verses that point out the Sabbath. And we will continue on in our study in the next video. I'll see you there.